Hey, I am Haley, founder and CEO of WOAT, aka the Women of All Terrain. And in today's video, I'm going to help you claim metabolic freedom and do it in a way that feels like effortless wellness, meaning allowing you to understand how to eat enough to build lean body mass and have abundant energy, while also being able to claim that body that makes you confident on the inside and out, with food flexibility and the ability to consciously consume. The biggest takeaway, though, from today's training is this: the old cycle of constantly training harder and eating less is just a path to burnout, not wellness. It breaks down our bodies, it drains our energy, and it traps us in this never-ending yo-yo diet cycle. Successful weight management hinges on 3 critical phases if we're going to feel uplifted and empowered and strengthened. Because when we can understand these critical phases, you can maintain a fast metabolism, balance your hormones, and unlock abundant energy, all leading to the happiest, healthiest version of you. And if you can stay with me until the end, I'll reveal a crucial insight. The number one reason why 90% of women, yes, a real statistic, regain their weight. But more importantly, I want to show you how to avoid being part of that statistic, because this rarely discussed insight by other coaches is your key to lasting success, to ensure that you don't constantly underfeed yourself in the name of losing weight. That's where I was after 12 years of struggling with my weight. I was over it. I didn't want to constantly feel like I was less than or unworthy, because this was so difficult for me to understand. I spent over $40,000 in gaining education about nutrition, getting certifications, learning from various coaches, and I still had no idea how to stop yo-yoing. I could build the composition, but I didn't know how to maintain it. And a lot of times it's just because these courses, they still preach outdated methods, really not addressing your body's metabolic needs accurately. And a really large part of these resources teach such high-level, nuanced methods that don't actually matter and are super hard to implement in your day-to-day lives, that I just constantly felt like I was failing before mastering the basics. And so that's why I want to teach you these 3 phases. I was able to go through the building phase and actually understand how to put it all together. Throughout the building phase, I learned to break free from that burn more, restrict more mindset. I come from a competitive gymnastics background where trying to be as thin as possible was the most preached thing I heard growing up. I didn't know how to fall in love with building muscle and being strong. It was all about my external aesthetic. I was constantly feeling like if you asked me to put on a swimsuit, I just wanted to hide. But throughout the building phase, I actually was able to fall in love with strength training, and I stopped looking at food as something I wanted to eat as little possible of. But I had no idea how those two supported one another. I really didn't understand the relationship with the two within my fitness and within my nutrition to continually build my body up. I knew, okay, I can't eat as little as humanly possible, but something wasn't clicking. And it was these pieces of the building phase that I had to learn. The first one being the importance of eating for your metabolism. We have to know how much our body expends so we can create predictable change. And even more importantly, when we know how much we expend, we know how much more food we need to eat long-term to ensure that we have optimal hormone functioning and don't become metabolically adapted. The second thing we do in the building phase is find food flexibility. A lot of these passive approaches that we've tried have just boxed us into one way of eating that may work really great for one person, whether that's cutting out sugar, eating Whole30, or doing keto, or having these boxed meals that can get delivered to your house. But there's so much biodiversity that if we don't understand what our bodies need, these overly rigid protocols are not only going to miss the mark, but sometimes they have the complete opposite effect that we're looking for. The other piece is when we have kind of that lack of food flexibility, we also don't have the ability to build independence and trust. If you tracked macros before, or if you've found a system that you're like, okay, I'm building the composition that makes me feel my best, I'm doing these things perfectly, but you have no idea how to succeed outside of that or when that tool goes away, nobody's taught you actually what your body needs, why your body needs that, and more importantly, how to pivot and respond to your biofeedback, respond to how your body's doing day by day. We have to build independence with the process and trust within our protocols and within our body's biofeedback signals in order to find long-term success. The last piece in the building phase is understand the correlation between nutrition and training. Workouts just don't burn enough calories. So let's just stop viewing them as this calorie burnt, obsessive, wearable checking thing. Let's break down some simple numbers to kind of break down what I mean by that. So we want to learn how to train to build instead of train to burn. If we're looking at losing 2 pounds of fat, which is the max amount of fat that we can turn over in a 7-day time frame or a 1-week time frame, that takes a 7,000 calorie deficit across that week. Now, let's say that on the high end, you are consistently getting 5 workouts in, which for an hour long is going to average out for most women to be around 400 calories burnt each. So let's say you're working out for an hour total. That's around 2,000 calories burnt across that 1-week time frame. I think we can both agree that 2,000 doesn't equal 7,000. It's not even close. So it's really helping you understand, where does the rest of it come from? How can we signal fat loss? And it's understanding training and our workouts don't burn enough calories. They just tell us a few really important things. First, it's going to help us increase our total daily energy expenditure. Workouts are not purposeless. When I say TDEE, that's really your metabolism. It increases how much energy our body utilizes. Muscle mass is metabolically expensive. It takes a lot of energy to move muscle. So when we train to build muscle mass instead of obsess over the calories burnt on our wearable, for every pound of muscle mass that we gain 7 to 13 calories to that basal metabolic rate. And the beautiful thing is when we do that, it doesn't only increase our total daily energy expenditure, but it also increases the energy used at rest. So you're not just getting the bigger bang for your buck during that workout, but as you're resting, your body has to use more energy. We also have better hormone functioning as we start to add workouts that aren't over exerting our system and tanking our adrenals, hitting that high heart rate all the time. When we're training to build, our hormones are allowed to regulate. And finally, when we train to build, we are teaching our body where to prioritize the loss or gain. So it's really like, how should our nutrition be partitioned on our body? If we're eating below our metabolic rate, above our metabolic rate, even with our metabolic rate, should we lose fat? Should we lose muscle? Should we gain fat, gain muscle? Where are we prioritizing that? That's where that composition change is really going to be key. This is exactly what our athlete Jess did when she came into our community. She was that girl that was obsessed with her Peloton and attached her Apple Health to everything. It was like, okay, this is how many calories I burnt, that I can only eat this amount of calories. I'm running 6 days a week for over an hour. I don't know what to do and my kids can't come with me. We taught her how to train smarter, how to train and build lean body mass. Not only did her composition change beautifully, but she also went to the gym and apparently surprised herself with doing 16 full push-ups post-workout. That's what I mean by falling in love with what your body can do. But stick around if you want to understand how building this foundation and the building phase unlocks freedom long-term and builds your body up. Because that's what we do in the second phase. Building out the protocols, building out a way that you can eat that fits your lifestyle, that doesn't box you in, is one thing, but understanding conscious consumption is another. This phase is about more than just choosing what to eat. It's about understanding and respecting your body's needs and signals. Let's be real. Life gets chaotic sometimes. The kids get sick. You need to throw something in that's frozen, or go snag some takeout on the go, or maybe life was just super stressful. It happens to all of us, right? There's chaotic times, and perfect protocols can work in perfect life circumstances, but that's not our reality all the time. That doesn't mean that our progress and our health have to take the backseat too. When I'm talking about building conscious consumption, I'm talking about having the ability to tune into you and allowing yourself to have conscious awareness and understanding of how much food does make you feel your best. What foods make you feel your best? How can you pivot in these different situations? The building phase and kind of leading into conscious consumption is really like what we do with kids with calculators and manipulatives and math. Before, the goal is mental math. We want to get to a point where we, can just be able to pull some mental math, be able to make the tip at the restaurant without having to think about it. But that's not where we start. We have to go in the building phase first. We have to use the calculators, use the manipulatives, see the evidence, practice with it. And once we do that, then we can start to build this conscious awareness and understanding. And this, one of our athletes, not only was she feeling amazing, but she was also thoroughly enjoying all the food and drinks while still making progress. Conscious consumption is knowing how to add in those fun foods, but also it's teaching your biofeedback. So it's teaching your hunger cues, ghrelin and leptin. When are you full? When are you satisfied? What is a stress hunger cue? What about boredom? What about habit? How about your impact on sleep? Where you're at right now is kind of being led by these faulty cues and these faulty signals. And so instead of just throwing our hands up and say, I give up, my body's broken, it's just me, I'm just getting older, let's put that mentality aside and let's train your cues. Because when we train our cues, we can trust our cues. And we can trust our body, we can start to feel like we are in more of a symbiotic, connected relationship to our body instead of like we're always at war. This is exactly what we did with Stephanie. She learned not only how to incorporate the foods that she loved, daily ice cream was the thing for her, but she also wanted to be an example for her children, and she wanted to make life on the fly work. She came from a background of having disordered eating and always thinking that these foods were bad. I need to eliminate and eat as little as humanly possible. But she was able to come in and say, hey, I've had chronic pain. I had complications in pregnancy. I've had this really bad relationship with food. I don't know if it's going to work for me. And we taught her what her body needs. We started to train those cues. When are you actually hungry? Can we teach you how to eat enough? And can you start to fall in love with how your body's responding and start to trust what it's giving so you don't have to think about, is this good? Is this bad? I don't know if it's doing the right thing. Let's go ahead and take that mental fatigue off of you and allow you to feel like you can trust what you're doing no matter what season gets thrown at you. So our first two phases, we have to build the right tools. That needs to phase into being able to consciously consume the appropriate amount in the foods that you enjoy so that you can maintain progress. And the last piece is the reverse diet. This is your missing piece. I'm going to say it again. This is your missing piece. This is the phase that is often overlooked by 90% of coaches and programs. The way we eat to lose weight or lose fat or shift your body composition, that is not sustainable for maintenance. We can't be there forever. We want to teach women at WOAT how to learn to avoid that frustrating cycle of undereating and then overeating and then gaining and losing and being good and being bad. When we're doing the reverse diet, we're teaching you how to come out of a fat loss phase. Remember why I said we wanted to learn how much your body expends? This is where it becomes important so that we can appropriately maintain your results, maintain your composition, and support a revitalized metabolism. Start to build your body up long term. And that's exactly what Jackie did here. She was nervous. She was hesitant first, but this is where she's at now.
In reverse, I'm creeping towards maintenance, but I am up 800 calories from when you put me into a deficit, and I still haven't reached my maintenance. So I am feeling so much freedom with food. And it's funny, even because I had a friend say to me, I can't believe you, like, still not understanding what I'm doing, lost all this weight and the holidays are coming up. That was stupid. You should have waited. And in my head, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm going to eat almost double the amount of calories that I did last year. And, and feeling great and strong. And I'm loving how my body feels now.
So the key takeaway from today's training is that you need predictability and balance. If you can understand how to eat for your metabolism, that unlocks freedom and trains your body's biofeedback signals to feel connected. And if we train to build and come out of a fat loss phase appropriately, that's how we avoid the yo-yo. One of our athletes said it best: WOAT is about small, sustainable changes to achieve long-term success. It's not about perfection, but setting realistic goals that I can stick to long-term while shifting my mindset, a body positive and body accepting approach, and being a woman of all terrain, or whatever wording she decided to use. So if you're like, okay, I understand these phases, tell me more, how do I implement? And you're ready to get started. You want to learn what your body needs and not just be thrown into another algorithm, not just be looked at as another number. I'm asking you to take a second and just take a chance on you. Everything we do within our community is custom to you. And that starts with booking a phone call and just talking about where you're at now. What are your goals? Why has it been so difficult? What have you tried in the past? Why hasn't it worked long term? And can we find a solution that's going to allow you to find that freedom to build your composition, consciously consume, so that you can really start to trust where your body is at, and then start to build that body up long term, build muscle mass, build your metabolic rate, so that you can fall in love with what your body can do and be the best version of yourself, not only for you, but everyone else that you impact. Thanks for listening. Chat soon.